Join your host as he engages in unfettered conversation with folks sharing their perspective on how businesses, political policies, technology, and world events impact their families and communities. If you want to turn your thoughts into actions, listen to the Brother of Light, dropping wisdom in your left ear and knowledge in your right.
Oh yeah, it's another glorious day in the Big D.
Move your groove, bump your hump at Club Soulbird's Talent Competition. And it even gets better, mamas and papas, because first place prize wins 1,000 G's. No time.
I take it you're not interested in the encyclopedias.
Cry me a river and put some threads on that mannequin.
Operator 417, may I help you?
Yeah, can you give me the number for a really good hoe?
I forgot to take the tone off the...
Oh, black love is so beautiful.
Glory, glory, glory.
Encyclopedia business not going so well for you?
No. Door-to-door sales is not exactly my thing.
We don't have anything else available right now.
Like hula hooping with our old asses in a tingle bible club.
Really?
No jiving. First place wins $1,000.
I'm doing it.
I'm going to make you an offer.
What kind of an offer?
One you can't refuse.
Here's to 41 years.
It's to 41.
You gonna call me, right?
Yeah, right.
Hey, it's cool. It's all cool. It's nothing to get uptight about.
Nothing to get uptight about? There were 2 rules. I'm canceling tomorrow's gig, and I'm putting you on the first Greyhound bus smoking out of town.
But it's a little more
yeah.
little whorehouse.
It's like Little Whorehouse in Texas, but it's
Right.
not so much about the skill sets as it is about the living and the arrangements and the relationships between the women. It's hysterical. Gene, it's hilarious, right?
Really?
Yes. So when I found out about, like, you made a movie? What? You know what I mean? Because, being in the creative industry, we've all got
Right.
circles and people work on short films all the time. They work
Right.
on different projects. She made a movie. I said, wait a minute. You actually made a movie. It's on Amazon. I can watch this.
So wait a minute.
Go buy
Let me
this
get
movie.
this straight. Tammy, you just picked up the pen, started writing, you wrote a script, basically.
Yes,
And then you shot and put a movie on Amazon?
I did. And so I started out with, no kidding, $70 in my savings account.
Wow. Okay.
And when I moved back to Dallas, I actually got picked up for a show. It was called Kanani. And this show was actually airing on May 27th. It was back in Dallas. And so I, again, collaborated, networked, and met people from there. And I told them about the idea, and their eyes lit up, because I thought I was going to have to, get $30,000 to pay out
A full cast and crew.
Right, full cast and crew. Right.
But they loved the idea so much. And then when they saw the script, they said, you know what? We're going to do this.
It was a funny script.
And
then
so,
it's a brilliantly written script, and it's a movie that had heart. Now, the sound was terrible. When I watched it, I was like, the sound was terrible.
Yeah, that sound was bad.
Indie film challenges. But
it was
the
bad.
movie itself was funny. Right? Again, Gene, I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon right now. It's on Tubi.
Okay.
It's on a few other streaming
What's the name
networks.
of the? Yeah, let everyone know the name of the show again.
It's
Tammy.
called Paradise House. It is,
Paradise House.
Yes.
Okay.
It's set in the 1950s in
Okay.
Dallas, Texas. Sassy, no-nonsense madam owns a coloreds-only brothel. And
Wow, I like the
Yes.
concept.
yeah, so
I'm telling you.
she meets.
Wait till you see it. It's funny, man. Wait till you see
Really?
it. It's funny.
Tammy,
so I
did
watched
you-
that,
Sorry.
and
go ahead.
then I said, okay, she's got skills. This is great writing. Yeah, let's work together. So
Yeah.
again, I've got the neighborhood studio in
Right.
Norcross.
Right.
And so I've got space, and then I've got creatives that I work with all the time, people that I've worked with for years that I trust. And I said, all right, well, let's figure something out. What do you want to write? And then she was just starting to get into sci-fi and fantasy and thrillers, and that's my wheelhouse.
Right, it started writing it.
Yes.
Now I am a Twilight Zone fan all
Twilight
my
Zone,
life.
lifelong.
Okay.
Lifelong Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So and then Bob, I'm gonna get you in the mix. Now I'm fascinated because I have heard that writing comedy, Tammy, is one of the hardest things you can do.
Yes.
And then to make it funny, because sometimes it doesn't translate from the page into live action. I know some of that depends on the talent.
Yeah.
So did you have a comedic background? Where was your inspiration? Where'd you draw from? I'm serious, it's a hard time. Like, writing comedy is tough. Especially if you're just saying you weren't a writer. You just told the audience, like, I'm not really a writer, but then you went from comedy, now you're doing sci-fi. I got to get the comedy first. It's just wow. What is that?
Well, and the thing of it is, I love comedy, and I always have loved comedy. And when I see comedy, I know great comedy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when looking at some things, if it didn't, put it this way, if it didn't necessarily make me, I know that comedy's quick. It has to happen quick. And so those lines have to come boom, 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 boom. And those punchlines have to, really hit.
Timing.
And
timing
it's all about the timing, comedic timing. And so I knew that. And from the wonderful training I got, I had great acting coaches. One of them, her name was Michelle Condrey. And then the other, Lar Park Lincoln.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Who we're planning on having in a future project.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And so
awesome.
I'm excited.
She's already battled for her.
Yes.
Battled for her.
Gotcha.
I'm going for Laura. But anyway, Laura was also my acting coach as well. And so they were great acting teachers, along with another. I had several acting coaches, well, 3.
Right.
And so they were able to teach me to do that because I took classes all my life. It's like this. People think just because you start booking work as an actor or actress that you should stop taking training, which is not true at all. So it's just like when you're working out to get that fabulous body. You don't stop working out once you get the fabulous body. You continue to work out to maintain that fabulous body.
That's right.
So that's the same thing with your acting and coaching. Even the biggest music stars still work with vocal coaches. And then you see right here, voice coaching. Even he's got some students that are constantly working.
Yes, they are.
But they still come to him for training or refresher courses. If they're doing ongoing training, they're doing ongoing training. And sometimes they just come in for a tune-up. So that's the same thing with that. But anyway, as far as comedy is concerned, I knew that I loved it. I knew that I had some pretty sharp comedic timing skills. And so I said, hey, going for it. I'm going to write it and I'm going to produce it and we're going to make this happen. And so then I said, well, you know what? We're not going to be slaves to one genre. We're going to write things that come from the heart. And that means something to us. So we did Forever Gardens. Bob and I wrote Forever Gardens. And again, it was a great success. It got picked up by a distributor and then 5 other channels or 5 streaming platforms. It did. Yes. And so it's right now, Tubi's the main one that you can see it on. So
okay, Tubi's very difficult to.
Pardon?
Tubi's a challenge to get content on. That speaks to.
Yes, it is, and so that's.
It speaks to the level of what you guys did, right? That is where the blessing is, right? That says a lot. Tubi's difficult, from what I'm understanding.
Yes.
So go ahead, tell us about Forever Garden.
You know what?
It's sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is sci-fi.
Thriller.
But then the thing of it is, Tubi picked up 2 movies.
Wow.
Of ours, and so then I wrote The Rings That Bind Us back in 2016.
Oh, wow.
I didn't mention it to Bob until after we had done Forever Gardens.
Wow.
And
then I said, hey, this was great.
This
was
he said,
a fantastic.
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we had an amazing experience with Forever Gardens. And so I said, all right, well, what else you got? Let's see what else you got in the tank, right?
Right.
So then she showed me the script, the rough draft, the way that she writes, by the way. Again, creatives, right? They all have their own way of writing and creating. Right. But when she showed me the packet for The Rings That Bind Us, oh my gosh.
It was our pitch packet. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell it. It looked like 3rd grade art class.
Oh, 3rd grade. Are you serious?
Because I was working overnight at Total Traffic. I had just gotten rehired again and knew that I was going to write this movie. So I had people that I really, really wanted to be a part of this. And so when I brought it to Bob, and it was an Edwemacy project, then he said, okay, let's do it. So I told him, okay, so here's who we want. We want Yarborough and Peoples because they're in Dallas, and we want Shucky Ducky. So he's like, okay, so who do you know that knows him? I said, oh, I know people. And so we were able to get them on board. And when I tell you, that was just phenomenal. Yeah. They killed it. They came in and they had such a great time.
They showed up ready to work,
they did.
ready to play.
Yes, they did. But this process was a 6-year process from the time I wrote it to the time we filmed it and
for the Rings That Bind Us, it took you 6 years. Wow.
Yes.
Well, she wrote it in 2016, and then we started working on it 2019 and 20, and we filmed it in 2021, and we've released it now in 2022.
Yeah.
And now we're going for distribution, and this thing has, in all seriousness, Gene, based on the success that we had at the Angelika Theatre for our red carpet premiere, from start to finish, the audience was laughing. But also, when people start talking at the screen, it's going to be good, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
Yes.
See, so, boy, I am so chomping at the bit to get in the Rings That Bind Us.
Yes.
But you guys there's so much, because I know, Bob, our similar story, and I'm going to ask you first, how's Summer doing? Because I remember she was having some health issues.
As far as the chronic illness has gotten worse, and unfortunately that has led to her career really just stopping. But we are still being creative. I still value all of the input that she gives in terms of marketing. She's always been a marketing genius, and she has always had really good insight and input in that regard. Mm-hmm. And so I need to do more things and listen to her more than I do. But she's been very helpful in that regard. We also put our kids in the movie. So we
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have our kids in the movie.
Wow.
Throwing water balloons at her.
Oh.
Trying to work hard.
Awesome. But I'm gonna get into you. Go ahead, finish your thought. Because Tammy said something about having $70 in the bank account and pressing through.
Oh, right? Absolutely. But that's what the Rings That Bind Us also led to, is that we leveraged. Tammy has a saying, and I'm a big believer in this as well. It's not about having money to achieve your dreams and your goals, right? Not having money forces you to be more resourceful
and creative,
and much more creative, right? We are only limited by our own imagination.
That's right.
Now,
That's true.
Thankfully, one of my superpowers is I've got the fastest imagination in the West.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can attest to that. I actually can attest to that.
Yes.
I can actually attest to that.
You know that for a fact. And that's also where we're great, because again, she keeps me from being ADD. It keeps me straightforward and focused.
Right.
But in terms of being creative, in terms of being imaginative, in terms of being resilient, 100%, we synergized so well in this movie. The fact that we only have 10 people in the crew total on both different locations in Dallas and Atlanta.
Well, yeah, total.
10 total. By the way, I'm counting myself twice.
Okay. It was 10 total. However, in Dallas, which is where we filmed 90% of it, we had 5
total
people,
including me.
5 people.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone wore so many different hats and had about 12 different jobs apiece.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Oh, yeah. Again,
just
what the movie
wanted to make sure we only had 5
in Dallas, and then 4 in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Yes.
Wow.
And then our crew, our cast, they just brought it with amazing performances.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, incredible performances. But when it comes to making a movie and producing a movie, right? We came to you at one point.
That's
saying,
right.
Hey, we're making a movie. We've done this in the past. We're doing it now. We just finished this short. We're going to make this movie. You want to get on the party bus or not? And you're like, yeah, I can get you funding and that sort of thing. But when it comes to that sort of thing, everything happens, right? There are so many challenges when it comes to making a movie.
Funding is the most formidable opponent in
filmmaking. And that's why so many movies are made by people who already have money. But when you don't have the money and the funding for that, you've got to be extra resourceful and extra creative. Now,
you really do.
Thankfully, we are.
You really do. And it's interesting because it's like building any business, right? And so one of the things Bob, and I know you know this. If you are, a friend of mine, we're like family, and I take, my I take my reputation seriously. So when you guys approached me for funding, I had to realize in doing due diligence of the people claiming to have the money, what do they want out of it, right? And so there are a lot of people in that space that actually are, what's the word I'm looking for? They are opportunistic, right? When they know you don't have money, they'll either want to own your licensing, they want to own everything. We'll get you the movie, but we want to own everything on the back end. And I really sort of began to become more analytical in, yeah, you say you have the money, but what's it going to cost? And that everyone that says they have the money, they don't really have it, right? Yeah. And so we know
about that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you guys came to me, the one gentleman who will remain nameless, that went down. You know me, Bob. That went down hard. That went down hard. Yes. I'm like, I sent you this, and he has a trailer, and they're doing this.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's go. And it was like crickets. I was like, okay. And then when I saw the contract, I didn't even send you the contract you sent me. You know why? Because I thought, out of respect for our friendship, there's no way I'm passing this off to Bob Carr. Absolutely not. That's not the way that's going to work, right? And so it becomes really, when you're capital raising for me in most spaces, but this one specifically, is that I'm dealing with creatives on one end and trying to get them to come up with the fundamental business principles, right, which I think you guys have, so that you can sell it to guys like where we used to be, Bob, right?
And all they care about is money in the bottom line and return on investment.
Exactly.
ROI, right?
Exactly, right, ROI. So I'm able to speak that creative language and then switch and speak the money language, right? But a lot of times it's the devil's in the details, right? And so it's the reason why I was so excited to have you guys on the show, on the program. And you guys are my first video episode of this because of some things that are happening on the show. So so bear with me, please be gracious. But at the end of the day, it's because we had that relationship, and people don't see at the end. You and I talked about this at Merrill, Bob, to where when we started investing with when we started investing people's money, that became very personal to me, right? It wasn't just a job that I was doing as much as it was for you. So I have a bad habit of when somebody brings me an idea, I tend to take that on as my own, right? Like I credit myself, and that's where I go with Tammy, is that sometimes it doesn't take physical currency. Sometimes you have to have intangible currency, right? That you're trying to make something happen. So when I saw that you were having the Dallas premiere, I was like, I gotta have you on, because I felt like it was the least I could do, because we ran into this Yahoo, and people that listen to the program know that I don't really pull anything back when I speak clearly, who obviously had a different agenda. And our relationship being as precious as it was, I was like, yeah, I'm not even bringing that to Bob, because that's, and I'm glad I didn't, because that group has yet to close anything. And when
things happen the way that they're supposed to happen,
they do.
And in all seriousness, Tammy has always said we want to limit any sponsorships, no investors, because again, we don't want to compromise our creative vision. And so we've been very blessed in the fact that I do have a successful working studio that I can draw upon, right? Again, I'm a working actor and I'm constantly working. So I've got a list of credits legitimately. So I'm able to help fund these other creative projects that we're doing. So, and then Tammy as well, again, between saving, between being brilliantly resourceful in terms of set design, in terms of location scouting, in terms of wardrobe. I'm telling you, she deserves an Oscar just for that alone. But in all seriousness, when mainstream Hollywood sees this movie, they're gonna give us job offers. First of all, without a question, they're gonna give us amazing job offers.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, the fact that we made this movie, as funny as it is from start to finish, that it also hits you in the heart, it hits you in the feels. Yeah. We made an amazing film that is going to, dude, you got Black Adam, you got Wakanda Forever, and you're going to have The Rings That Bind Us. I'm telling you, I feel that confident about the theatrical run of our movie, that it's that funny, and it also is that family friendly and wholesome family. But, I mean, really, it's gonna hit a lot of people in the heart in a major way.
And what Bob and I are also proud of is that we self-fund and executive produce our films.
Yes,
all
our
of
own
them.
projects.
We have never ever had a executive to. We've never had an. I'm sorry, we've never had an investor ever.
Right.
We've never even so much had sponsors.
Yeah. So okay, so let me go ahead. Okay, this is a lot, so I'm gonna walk through. So how there's a lot to go here. Let me say this first: that when I saw the trailer for The Rings That Bind, what I like about, first of all, how creative, right? And I won't give it away. I'll let you guys plug, and let's not forget to plug during the show. I want you to really plug the studio, the movie, and everything that you're doing, because that's what I consider servant leadership, which is to offer that. So, let people know how to contact you, get in touch with you, and you guys will be getting a copy of this to distribute wherever you need to distribute it to, right? So, but what I found it to be was really, and I'm just going to shoot with this, right? There's a slice of life in America for people of color that's historically has been one note, right? Right. And we needed, there, as opposed to the diversity and the richness, even within our own group, right? Mm-hmm. Which is diverse in and of itself, because you've got 3 different groups represented here. I mean, I'm a Jamaican-born boy. You say, what does that matter? Because from a cultural standpoint, it matters because we have to embrace our own diversity. And so even with coming here young, I could tell you about, the country side of my family that would play pinochle at night, and then the other side that would play spades, and then we don't even think about hula hooping or making chopper bikes, or the fact that I like AC/DC. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's that whole complete human being concept. Yes. When I saw The Rings That Bind and how I got so excited and the quality of the film that you guys put together, I was like, and then the story, I don't want to give it away, right? I don't want to give away what I saw in the trailer because I'm going to incorporate it into this video portion. I was like, oh, how creative, right? On so many different levels that you guys were touching on, in a standpoint that I don't think that America, the majority, have, you almost give them a peek into what the different variables that make us in a way. And then what it really turned out to be is how absolutely more alike we are than not. Yes. Right? The fact that, so I want to dive into it because Bob, I was going to ask you about the studio and how you guys are on that. I wanted to talk about the self-funding, but I know you guys are excited as I am. So let's dig into the synopsis of The Ring That Binds and the Dallas premiere. There's so much there. So you guys, this is really your show. I'm just here just to,
all right.
Just to keep it
The Rings That Bind Us is a period comedy about lifelong friends from different or going through different stages of life. One is a single parent trying to make it in the fashion industry. Another is happily married but working in a dead-end job. And the third lives alone, has her own home, has been a successful business owner in the past. But her parents live with her. Her overly amorous parents live with her. So, and these 3 use their hula hoop skills to win a talent competition in 1978. So $1,000 in 1978, that's big money. Yeah, and so this is a movie about the challenges of success and the stresses that they place on family. Mm-hmm. But it's cross-generational. It's a perfect family film. It's a perfect date night film because it's funny for men and women. It's a perfect I don't want to call it a chick flick, but I mean, it's about female empowerment and 3 strong women and the men that are in their lives, right? But it is also a fantastic positive look at our culture, right? In terms of the African-American culture and the African-American experience. Right. And that is what is going to resonate with a lot of people. That's the part.
I mean, the hula hoop, like who would have thought, you know what I mean? That's like.
Speaking of the hula hoop, when I was growing up, and I grew up in the 70s, and so I had.
What do you mean?
What? I tend to agree with you, Bob. She did not. She's a 90s
well, thank
baby.
you.
We'll go
thank
there.
you.
1997.
But oh Lord, but I had my mother got me all those things. She was very adamant about making sure that I was exposed to those things. I had hula hoops. I knew how to hula hoop. I knew how to skate. I had skates. I had the slip and slide. I had the bike. I had several bikes growing up, you know, and it would be me and my mom was a single parent. And so we'd be in our apartment complex. It'd be 15 kids riding our bike around there. You know, I climbed trees. I played cops and robbers. I was a tomboy, but I also had Barbie dolls. And so I did all those things, and my mom exposed me to all those things. And she also had a library of books. Mom used to read to me every night before bed. And this also set my imagination on fire. So to me, it was just a natural thing to go back and make a movie about something nostalgic that you really used to play with, because we didn't have the computers back then or the internet. And so we had to go outside and play. And I thought everybody knew how to hula hoop. I thought everybody knew how to skate. That was just, I mean, I thought everybody in my generation knew how to do that. And so I didn't feel like I was making, you know, that we were making some kind of innovative movie. It was just what we did back then. And I was drawing from life, because my mother sold encyclopedias. I interviewed her for the movie and writing the script. And so the what you see in the movie was exactly what happened with her. Now I tweaked the, you know, what the encyclopedia sells, but she was also a directory assistance operator. And so all those lines are, you know, directly taken.
This movie is based on truth. Based more than a little bit on truth.
It's loosely based. It's loosely based on true events.
Wow, that's great. I remember the encyclopedias.
But it's, the thing about it that's so fantastic is that even though it's based in 1978, the relationships that we show in the movie still directly relate today. People will still, it will resonate within you. Like, you will feel this movie in your gut and in your heart. You're gonna laugh, but even while you're laughing, you're gonna feel it, and it's absolutely amazing and exciting.
See, that's what I actually find fantastic, because like you, Tammy, I remember growing up reading the encyclopedia. My grandmother was a Creole from Shreveport, and we had the green encyclopedias, and she would sit us down in the den and we start reading it. What I'll share this, you know, sometimes we grow up and we get very sophisticated, but what really, you said something that resonated with me, Tammy, about setting your imagination on fire, was I was a comic book guy. I don't even know if Bob knows this. We might have talked, we had the Marvel conversation, right?
I think we became friends.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
Once you said you were a comic book guy, we started talking.
Oh, let me tell you. It's funny because most guys sit there, this is what I love about Bob, and I say what I mean, is that most guys should talk about their car, or they're talking about, you know, how much they can bench press, you know, in the gym, or, you know, how tough they are. Like, I've got a black belt in this. Bob and I were really competing about comic book knowledge. Right? That was, you remember that in the office that one day, Bob? You were like, I was like, you don't understand Marvel. You're like, well, I was like, well, you know, like the movies where they need to be, and, you know, they could be better. We need some sci-fi stuff going on. But it was really something that I actually kept hidden, because it wasn't really popular with the young ladies at the time, because I was, you know, I was a Coke bottle glass wearing uncool cat that loved reading comic books, right? And I love, I was a nerd, and I love this idea of good and useful, right? It really gave me a sense of value, right? But like you, I remember the hula hoop and the skating, and I was like, well, what do you mean you can't swim? I don't understand, right? Right? It's like, I don't understand. Like, you can't swim. You know, we'd have hula hoop contests. I mean, it was like, boys and girls, right? We both.
What?
My mom got me in swim lessons. Yeah, my mom got me in swim lessons when I was 3.
Absolutely.
3 years old. So I couldn't understand anybody who didn't know how to swim, or didn't know how to skate, or didn't know how to hula hoop. I didn't get that.
Bob, that's what I'm telling you. I actually knew how to hula hoop. It was a thing. Okay. Now, I couldn't do all the flipping and the twirling.
The movie.
We'll see about that. Right. That's what I resonated with what Tammy said. I remember hula hooping. Absolutely. Double Dutch and jumping rope. Oh, absolutely.
That jump rope.
Of course. The jump rope, the whole shebang. So when I saw it, I think that's what really hit me on the inside was, oh my gosh, she's talking about something. You're actually taking something that's very personal and private and you're putting it into, because nobody talks, especially as a grown man now, but it's like, yeah, you know, we get the hoop. Listen, like the glow. Remember the glow in the dark hula hoops? I know that's on one of the. I remember those. You turn the lights out, you get your hula hoop on. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Bob, you didn't hula hoop. I'm gonna admit this right now. I
got him in the movie.
I
made sure I got him in the movie.
The
LED lights.
Yeah.
Because it's a special effect. You know what I mean? That's our special effects. That's our visual effects. Oh yeah, top notch.
That's right, and that's what I think is so cool about not only the period piece, but also to show that slice of something that we can all sort of relate to, right? Is that it wasn't just, you know, like kind of like you, it's like cops and robbers. And I remember G.I. Joe, my G.I. Joes would attack my sister's Barbie house, you know. He-Man was a big one, right? He-Man was a big one. And so it's really interesting that the diversity of not just from an ethnic standpoint, but also from as a human being standpoint, that you said you were a Trekkie, and then we talk about hula hooping, and then, you know, watching Bob go, I'm not a hula hooper. And then I actually just embarrassed myself and said, yeah, I've twirled a hula hoop or two in my time. You know what I mean?
I'm just not good at it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I tried it. I'm just not good at it.
Oh, I said I did it. I didn't say I was good at it. You know what I mean? Especially now when my hip not working the way it's supposed to. I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't think I have that anymore. But it's really nice to be able to see this in a movie, and then to also, even from the encyclopedia piece of it, where your mom was an encyclopedia salesperson.
She did.
And then to see that, I remember they would
knowledge.
Right, come to the door and encourage you to read, and then look at the legacy. I can see it now, how almost either art imitates life or life inspires art. That here, because of, and your mom being a single parent, and because of how you've been able to draw from your own experience, and you two have been able to collaborate to make a movie about a time period that the first thing that comes to my mind is that the relationships are going to be everlasting, right?
Absolutely.
That even though
And
that
he
they're
says
going to
that
be
all the
everlasting.
time. Bob says
Right.
that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's really, really cool. So tell us about the Dallas premiere, because I'm kind of stalking you guys now. At the Angelika, for those of you that don't know, the Angelika Theatre in Dallas, I don't know how many locations that they have. Is this I will say it this way, is this bougie theater in Dallas everybody loves? And listen, from
Let me tell you, that's my favorite theater.
let me tell you, it's mine too. I'm embracing my inner. I'm embracing my inner and outer bouginess. So at the end of the day, I
love Angelika Theatre. Always
love it.
have.
It has some of the best films there.
Yes, they
folks.
do. And independent films at that.
And independent films. They've really been, and I'm not plugging Angelika, but I'm going to plug Angelika because I saw some great movies at the Angelika. Things that never made it to the big screen, but had a lingering impact on me, and how they embrace independent filmmakers and compelling sort of coming from left field stories. Not only that, the popcorn's really great. And it's really and they're really nice and kind of schwanky, but the prices aren't really, really crazy, right? So a lot of people think to be this big, you know, think about the big blockbuster films, but some of the most impactful films to me, they come from that sort of theater, indie filmmakers, and they really are a proponent of that. And so so tell me about that premiere. How did that work? The red carpet event. Because I know you guys can't stop talking. You can't stop smiling about it.
It was amazing. Seriously, near sellout crowd. Really, that was incredible. Absolutely amazing experience. The crowd, you know, they had known about this for quite a while, but once we showed them the movie, like they knew when they filmed it, it was going to be something special. But sometimes when you work on a project, you're like, okay, I got through that and I moved on. Yeah. Right. I mean, really, like for a lot of different acting projects. But we told them while we were in production, this is going to be something special. This is going to be something very special. You did an incredible job, and we are so proud to show you what you've created. This is going to last like a lifetime. And when they sat, well, first of all, the red carpet experience itself was fun. It was exhilarating. You know what I mean? This was our debut to the world, right? For them to see our baby. This is our baby together. And so Our first, because we got others, and then we've already got others planned. You're
Wow.
absolutely right. Our second. We've got others planned. So this was our premiere, and when everybody sat down in the theater, like I said at the beginning of this interview, you know, when they start talking back at the screen,
Right.
you got 'em, right?
Yeah, you got them. That's true. That's right.
So, I mean, from the first scene, right? So from when David Hudad, who's absolutely brilliant, wonderful person, one of my closest friends.
Oh yeah,
he shocked us. He shocked us in his performance.
He did.
With Tammy. You'll see, but when he answers the door, from that moment on,
yeah, he
the
sets
movie is
the
not-
whole precedence.
He really does. He sets the whole tone of the movie,
Yeah.
of the entire movie.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But then in addition, like I said, it's visually, it's beautiful. So we've got to give total props to Sonny Jefferson, who is the DP here in Dallas, and Babacar Ndiaye in Atlanta, because they both shot just a cinematically stunning movie. I knew when we were in pre-production, you know, if you're making a movie about the 70s, you got to have the colors. You got to have the colors, you gotta have the sound, you got to have the music, right? And so I made sure in my conversations with them, I was like, listen, we're going to have theme music for every scene, so that way everybody can feel like each character has their own tone, right?
Right.
They've got their, you know, their own vibe from that genre, from that period. And then with the colors, every scene is visually stunning. It is just, it's visually beautiful.
Wow.
Let me interject here. Because of our phenomenal director, Bob Carter, he sat down and he spoke to them, because we had 3 readings before, pre-production readings, before we even started shooting. And he already expressed to the cinematographer, to the sound, to the lighting. Well, actually, lighting came on a little later, but you know,
I still expressed
but he sat down and had a meeting with them and said, okay, here is what we want to have with this period piece. This is not something that is 2021 or 2022. This is 1978. And so we're going to have to go back, back in time, not only with the script, but also with our way of thinking. And so we want the music. Yeah, we want the lighting. We want to really set the tone and take you back, because if you are taken back, then the audience will take it, they'll be taken back with us. They'll go on this journey, this trip with us. And so he really, really set that tone. And then
it needed soul power, right?
Love power.
Right? Black power.
So he just did a phenomenal job of directing. I had never been under his direction before as a movie. That was the first time that he had directed me.
Well, voiceover.
Voiceover. Yeah,
she's done video games now.
I mean, in a movie. With
voiceover,
he coaches me all the time. But I'd never been directed by him before. And so I saw his directing style. I saw how creative he was, and getting that across. Letting that come across on film. So, you know, he had gotten the it was so good. He had gotten some cool props. I know one of the phone.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, okay, cool. And then there's a
R2D2 cookie jar.
Jar in there.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying, from Star Wars.
You remember back in the day when you had the orange phones with the
12-foot
long cable cord, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so he had a very vivid vision for what we created. To do.
And also, this is not just another urban gangster movie, right? We don't want any more urban gangster movies. Just generic shoot 'em up and guns and drugs, and that's the African-American experience. We did not want that at all. What we wanted was, we wanted the passion and the heart and the love of good times, with the rhythm and the vibe of Car Wash, right? With What's Happening Now. You know what I mean? Just like bring it all in. And we wanted it to be relatable for every generation, every age group, and for everybody to enjoy this movie. And we did it. That's the best part about the movie, is we didn't just talk about doing it. We didn't just like film it. We didn't just edit it. We did it. We made it. We made that happen. We're very excited. I got chills right now.
So do I. Can I interject this 3 things? First of all, Bob, for as long as I've known you, I did not know you had this prowess, right? Of what Tammy is saying about your ability to direct, because it really is important to not only, sometimes you can ever watch a time period piece and you go, I kind of don't feel like I'm there. But to have the thought of mind to say that if you believe you're in 1978, so will the audience. And those are the films that actually capture me, and most of us, I would imagine, in a way that makes some of the great films, and some of the great directors, and to hear someone like Tammy say, have him the way you have directed her, given her your background and experience, speaks volumes to the humility that you guys bring to this film. And then where I will agree with you 1,000% is that there's nothing like wanting somebody to tell stories about just, you see me and I'm a gangster, or you see me and I'm having a hard time, or how about the nerdy me, or how about the hula hooping me, or how about the roller skating me, or how about the director me, how about those different elements of me that make me who I am. And so I can't wait to see it now. I'm chomping, but let me tie it to this.
Wait, hold on a second. I got to say something, because we didn't bring in the comic books, but we did manage to bring in the Hot Wheels.
Yes.
And also the puppets. Okay, so there's this brilliant young man, Jordan Parker. I'm so proud of him.
Right. Whoa. The Hot Wheels.
Parker Durham.
Hot Wheels. Wait a minute. Let's go on that.
Oh yeah, man. We got Hot Wheels. We got Hot Wheels and puppets. Hot Wheels and puppets. Don't forget, back in the 70s, the puppets.
You can't just drop that. You got to express that. Come on now. Forget what I was saying. Let's go with the Hot Wheels and the puppets.
Brilliant.
I had Hot Wheels. So how did the Hot Wheels come into play? And where are the puppets? Where are the puppets?
We have those different reflections of our interests, of our hobbies, of our culture, right? Where it's not just being a gangster. It's not just that. It's in the little things, right? From everything from, again, fun little puppets and not so little puppets too.
Yeah, they weren't little.
They weren't little.
Remember the puppets in the 70s? I mean,
I do. I remember those with the big round mouth. Wait a minute. So what gave you guys, when you were when you guys were sitting, Tammy, when you were writing the script, right? When you were writing it, where did you get Hot Wheels and puppets from? Like seriously, I gotta know.
The Hot Wheels just came from the fact that
I had Hot Wheels.
That he had Hot Wheels, cars and everything, and so I mean, we said, hey, let's bring the set. But this brilliant young man that we cast for the role, Parker Durham, he is actually a ventriloquist in real life.
Yes. In real life.
Because when we were interviewing the children for the roles, because those were the roles that we did not necessarily pre-cast. We had audition children for those roles, and Yarborough and People, who did a fantastic job, but they recommended him. And so we brought him in for the audition, virtual, of course. But one of the questions we asked was, what are some of your favorite hobbies? And he said, well, I like to, I'm a puppeteer. And so I like to play my puppet. And I'm like,
oh yeah, Bob, he had me at puppets.
Bob, he's a puppeteer. Yeah. And so we had to totally change the script.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So we totally changed the script so that it would show his puppetry arts, in the movie, because I'm like, we've got to have that, because I mean, that was like from God. That was totally supposed to happen here. Totally because he had puppetry. He was a puppeteer, and I mean, that was huge.
Yeah.
But if you recall, I'm sorry. Yeah,
and also here in Atlanta. By the way, I need to interrupt. Quick plug to the Center for Puppetry Arts.
Yeah. Okay.
One of my favorite places in growing up. So again, from when I saw the puppets, raising my hand.
Yep. And I think, Tammy, you were going to go where I was going to go with that. During that time period, 1978, puppets were everything.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, they were, HR Puff and stuff. You had all those. You had the Bugaloos. You had all the
Giggle Snort Hotel. Don't forget.
That's right. So that is from God. It is from God.
The Play-Doh thing that he would always draw and then put the faces on. Oh, I love that show.
So you guys really dug deep.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we dug incredibly deep. I'm telling you, man, this movie is authentic and it's phenomenal and it's hilarious.
Wow.
We're incredibly proud.
Yes.
Like I said, we're not just going to go streaming on this one. We're going to go into the theaters.
Yes.
It is strong enough
it'll generate success by word of mouth.
Absolutely.
So we have a plan for it where we're developing that, and now we're in that final phase of the movie of like distribution and marketing and all that fun stuff.
So not to because I know you guys, I'm sure, have some top secret plans with that, but so the first thing is how I know, Bob, you've alluded to it, the reception for the movie.
Yes.
How was that?
That was better than we possibly could have hoped. It was so much better. And again, I knew when we made this movie that this was going to be a hit, right? I felt it in my gut. Like, there's certain things you know for fact. But then for other people to see that and recognize it, and then for it to resonate in them, that's the part that just, oh man, I'm so happy about that.
And I will tell you this, my mother, who is not a fan of indie films,
right?
She loved it. And she asked me, she told me, we are coming to the one, she and my two aunts, her best friends.
Right.
We're coming to see it in Atlanta. I loved that. I loved it. It was so beautiful. The red carpet, the movie, everything. When are you all going to screen it in Atlanta? Because we're coming.
Yes.
My mother said that. My mother, who I told you, she doesn't like indie films, and I know.
Right.
Okay. Okay. But she loved it. And so that's just how much it affected her and everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the cast and crew are going to fly out to Atlanta for it as well. They love this movie.
Sorry, you guys are in Dallas right now.
Yeah, no, we're in Atlanta.
Yeah, actually, we're in Atlanta for Anime Week in Atlanta because, again, from the anime side of things, I may as well go ahead and plug. If you like anime, check out Housing Complex C on HBO Max and Cartoon Network. If you like Licorice Recoil on Crunchyroll, I'm Mika, actually one of my favorite series I've ever voiced. And then also I am
Black Adam.
I was going to say that too.
Black Adam.
Listen, this is such a rich interview. It's probably one of the richest we've had. So now you are Black Adam.
He's Black Adam.
So you and The Rock. So you and The Rock.
Me and The Rock
are doing, what a timely Bob. It's just so nice to see, and I'll say this, there's so much. First of all, I'm with your mom. I need to know how you guys, let me go back up for a minute. How are you guys rolling out The Ring That Binds Us?
In Atlanta?
I know you guys did the premiere in Dallas. So what's the distribution strategy there? Where's the next place? I got to see this movie.
So in all seriousness, we plan on premiering it in Atlanta at the Plaza Theater, because that's Tammy's favorite place, and that's like the indie place here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sure.
But in all seriousness, based on the successes that we've had, honestly, we might even borrow a page out of Tyler Perry's playbook. Remember how you went city to city?
Yep.
We might just do that, because I'm telling you, man, this thing hits. It hits hard. It's funny. It resonates. It's hilarious. And then we can actually get into theatrical. We're talking with the Angelika Theatre. They loved it so much.
Yeah, and they were great.
Yes.
Right.
They were so great. They met every need. They were kind. They were lenient. They did everything we asked them to do.
That's
and
amazing.
Went above and beyond.
But they asked us to follow up with a theatrical run.
Yes, they
so
did.
again, that's Angelika Corporate. So that means we're going to be in multiple cities.
Yeah.
Multiple cities, right.
That's even before any other distribution deal. So, and again, that's different from film festivals or anything like that. So then here in Atlanta, so we've got connections here in Atlanta as well. So once they come out to the premiere, there will be even more momentum. And then, of course, once we go out to different cities and go to New York City, there's going to be even more momentum. So obviously, we're able to promote it ourselves, but also having Yarborough and Peoples and Shucky Ducky. This is also providing momentum for them. So they're interested in touring and promoting it. And of course, once they start hitting the morning show circuits and all that fun stuff, I'm telling you, man, they really brought it in the movie. They were fantastic.
Wow. And I gotta plug Yarborough and Peoples, because most people may not remember. They did Don't Stop the Music. If you remember that. Stop it. Don't you stop the music. I was on a station in Germany when that came out. I was like, who is that? That's Yarborough and Peoples. So the fact that you've got talent that lived through that time period adds to the authenticity of the program from the mind of Tammy.
Oh yes,
I love creative people. That's just amazing to me that you guys did it that way. Here's a second question. Second one is as the movie, gains more traction, I could kind of see this as a TV series. That would be kind of cool, right?
Yes.
Like, now I'm gonna put it out there.
100%. So again, while I was making this and while we were editing this, and then there's even a few moments in the movie, 100%, I plan on going to the people that made Family Reunion. I don't know if you've seen Family Reunion on Netflix.
I don't think I have.
Love that series. That is family TV. That is must-see view TV time, right? So, I mean, you know, Blackish is over, but Family Reunion, I'm just saying that because it was Blackish. It was like the Cosby Show for this generation, right? But Blackish was phenomenal. Family Reunion is equally as phenomenal. That's a runaway hit on Netflix for family series. I want this potentially to be something like that, but it's got its own feel. The Rings That Bind Us has its own feel, a different vibe from Family Reunion. But like I said, I could totally see it being a series on Netflix. But regardless, I've already got the series, the sequel to the movie. I'm already working on the sequel to the movie.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And see, there's space there, right? You bring up a good point, Bob. Is that Family Reunion is one slice, and so it's nice to be able to have something like the Rings That Bind Us to be a different slice, right? To tell that sort of, now you start seeing it from a really human perspective, right? So I haven't seen the full movie yet. I'm chomping at the bit now at this point. So I'm kind of like your mom, Tammy. I'm like, I like indie films. I think some of the best. I am trying not to name drop some indie films that I've seen, but I love them. I'm that kid that sits in.
So glad. We're so glad. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. I mean, because I think that you really get to watch some really brilliant minds put stories together.
Original stories.
Absolutely, man. I mean, listen, I'll say it. I went to go see Sense and Sensibility by myself, right? Because I thought it was such a different slice of that time period, right? I went to go see Mongol, I think, when they were telling the story of Genghis Khan from a way that was really interesting. So I had the Angelika. And when I saw your trailer, man, you guys don't know how much.
Thank you.
I'm like, I need more.
Trailer by Bob Carter.
Thank you very much.
And I had forgotten that you had directed it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, everybody knows that I produced it and directed it.
And he was a character. And he played Charlie Washington.
Yes.
Right.
So actually, I don't even mention that because I like catching people off guard. They turn it completely cut everybody in the theater, by the way, because they knew that I was directing them, but they didn't expect me, with the exception of our crew and Lucretia and Neely. You know, nobody knew that I actually was in the movie. And it was fantastic. I mean, again, the response from everybody.
That's amazing.
Again, when they're talking about you on the screen, right? When the audience and the crowd are talking about you, you know you got them.
Yeah.
So The Rings That Bind Us, directed by the voice of Black Adam.
Yeah.
So I got to go there because I remember back in Merrill, you were like, well, I could be your vocal coach, and I was like, nah, I'm a finance guy. I need a vocal coach, Bob. So let's talk about your long-standing history as voicing several characters in that space. Let's talk about how Black Adam came about, because you really have voiced some cool characters, and now you've brought Tammy along for the show, because I heard you say that she is you've got her into doing some voice work as well.
Absolutely. Cutthroat
Video
Taverns,
games.
very cool game. And
I'm plugging myself here because if they need an older gentleman to have an older grandpa voice, I'm all about it. I know, but so tell us about that story. I saw you were finally able to release that you were a Black Adam.
Yes.
And then secondarily, I'd like for you guys to plug the cast, name every single member in your leading cast and supporting cast. Tell us where we can catch it. Tell us where we can catch you guys, and then absolutely plug in and tell us what's next. Like what's next for you guys. So I'm gonna stick to y'all like glue. I'm gonna tell y'all, y'all going nowhere. You know what I think is divine, Bob? I'll just say this before you go there. It's really interesting. I lost my mom about 18 months ago, and so you really get to that stage and that point in life where you're like, what's really important. And you really start paying attention to the subtleties, because it's not always about money, right? It's about relationships. And in some iteration or other, you and I, Mr. Carter, have really sort of stayed in each other's orbit in a way. Like after leaving Merrill, working with a few firms there, when I went independent, and you were doing some independent things, and then when you moved to Atlanta, when I was there visiting my family in Atlanta, we met briefly. Had a fun time there at that little restaurant down there. I went to school in Atlanta. I went to HBCU proudly. And now this, to where you're always someone that I actually reach out to whenever I'm doing a new project, and that means something to me. I think when you meet people that have those values, right, which you possess, and I see why Tammy is enamored with your professionalism and you as a human being, and your level of sincerity, is what I am coming to appreciate more and more over these past 12 years, because I find myself wanting to turn back to those people that I have the ethics and the integrity and the loyalty, and just really being a person of your word. And so that I'm telling you from me to you, that means a lot to me. And you like to douse my fire every now and then, because how much you making the lights to go to war? I mean, when we were at Merrill, I was like, and I'm just gonna burn down the entire building. You know, I was asking those boys if they could fly. And you're like, now, Gene, now
you gotta be water.
You gotta be water, right?
Water, right. She hears this all the time from me, because I have to remind myself to be water.
I am water.
I am water. I am water. I am water. Whatever happens to me, I am water.
Right.
And so we can go with the flow. In all seriousness, thank you very much for that. You know, I've always been blessed, and I've taken pride in the fact that, I mean, I'm not perfect, but the people around me know that I give my best, and that I am genuine and sincere, and that you can rely on me. You know, you know that you can trust me. You know that what I say I'm going to do, and whatever you need, I'll be there. You know what I mean? Whether it's making introductions, whether it's putting in the work, whether it's, you know what, when The Rock says, be the hardest working man in the room, got him there. You know what I mean? Me and him, we're both up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We're, working 19, 20 hours a day. I understand what that takes, being consistent, but also showing up at soccer practice for your kids. And also, if you got to pick up dog poop, you pick up the dog poop. If you got to pick up laundry, you pick up laundry. Whatever it takes to get your dreams accomplished, you got to do it. You got to remember on what's important now. If you want to win, what's important now. So everything I do, I just try to remember to, I mean, my personal philosophy is motivate, educate, and empower. And I try to live my life like that. And everybody that knows me knows that's how I am. They know where I'm not perfect, but they also know where I'm hilarious about it. And they love me anyway. So I'm blessed in that regard. And I have been very fortunate to surround myself with people who are smarter than me and more talented than me and more lovely than me. And in all seriousness, I've been very blessed to have so many wonderful people in my circles throughout my life. And having said that, let me tell you about the amazing talent in our movie, because in all seriousness, Gene, I'm no slouch, right? You look at my IMDb and that sort of thing. I know, I'm established, right? I can say that with confidence and humility. I'm established. I was the weakest one on set. Let me tell you something.
He always said that.
Because you guys are amazing. I'm telling you, when you see this performance, you're going to be like, yeah, Bob's great, but these women were amazing, right? Incredible. Tammy Thomas, Neely Janae, Lucretia Johnson they were phenomenal, phenomenal. And Lucretia is another one who's like hardworking. Man, you would talk about like networking, brilliant networker, brilliant marketer, brilliant talent. To come in, she ended up coming in only 1 week before our movie, right? 1 week before production. And I mean, she was a heavyweight in the film, right? She's one of the 3 leading ladies. And she did such an amazing job. I mean, she's the heart of the group, right? She's the mom and the wife of the 3 friends, and she did such an incredible, emotionally powerful job in the movie, and she was hilarious while she did it. Oh my gosh, I'm still laughing about certain scenes I can't talk about right now.
That's incredible.
The hotel, a couple of scenes, but her outfits. Mwah. You know what? Okay, so in all seriousness, Wardrobe Brilliance by the amazing Tammy Thomas and Lucretia Johnson.
Lucretia Johnson, yeah.
Wait, so Tammy, you guys really did double up on the job then. You did wardrobe as well?
No, dude, now I'm telling you, she deserves an Oscar just for the wardrobe alone. When you watch this movie, by the way, one of my friends who came to the movie, she owns a vintage shop, right? Her business, her very successful business is vintage clothing and fashion. She said that's what drew her in the trailer immediately. And when she saw the movie, she was like, it was brilliant. It was amazing. She did an incredible job, right?
Wow,
when professionals are telling you that, you know that's that level of expertise and caliber.
Yeah,
right?
That's incredible. Wow.
Anybody that's been in sales, anybody that's ever been in sales, you know how there are certain sales techniques and things like that?
That's
when they're watching the movie, certain moments resonate with them. When people have been in customer service, certain moments resonate with them. So all the different careers that we've had in our lifetime, all these different things, I'm telling you, man, they resonate with people in the movie, and it's hilarious. But Tammy did an amazing job. Lucretia did an incredible job, and Neely did a phenomenal job as well. Her facial expressions, her attitude, her energy, her personality, the fire.
She was honey.
She was honey. Honey is her. And actually, honey is her because Tammy wrote the movie about a hula hoop champion that she had known in the past.
Right.
And actually, let's talk about that too, because we're going to talk about how we got the inspiration in terms of casting.
Absolutely.
You've touched on a couple of times about people of color and fewer opportunities being afforded to people of color in the industry, right? Not just in the financial services industry, but just in general when it comes to those upper echelons, and then having the opportunity to be a lead. Well, when we wrote this movie, Tammy was very adamant and specific about who she had planned for which roles and why. And it was because of the women that she had auditioned with. Back before the internet, back before you were sending these things out, you had to do cattle calls. And so all the time you're competing against these people, but at the same time, you're collaborating with them because you're finding out about other auditions that are happening here in this part of town or over across the other side of the river and all that other stuff, right? So it's a collaborative, I want to call it co-opting. Like, instead of cooperation, it's co-op. Co-opetition. There we go.
Co-opetition. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
So it's that collaborative co-opetition. And as long as you're getting invited to the party, then remember, you're going to get that slice of cake. Okay. But with the women, the incredibly talented women and men that she had auditioned with, because that's where Jordan Dragon King came from, and Theo B. Ray. Oh my God, they were so amazing.
Oh wow.
They were amazing. And we cannot forget Renee, Michelle.
Let me tell you, these are actors that I have known for 20 years plus.
Wow.
I'd worked with them in theater. Remember, theater was my background, and it was something I just ate, slept, and breathed theatrical runs. And I would be in rehearsal. I'll tell you what, I would be in rehearsals 300 days a year.
That's some serious theater, right? She's put in work.
Because I just did plays back to back to back to back, and that's where I met these people, and that's where we became friends. And we would always, it would in town there would be one role.
Right. That's right. I remember that in LA.
Yeah, right. And so we would all be in the audition room.
Right. That's right.
Waiting for that. But in that audition room, there was not a matter of rival. There was not a matter of rivalries. We would be talking. We would find out about what each other's doing. We'd go to each other's plays. We'd go to each other's screenings. And so that's how we would become friends. And then when we would get cast, there was an African-American theater called, Soul Rep Theater. And so all of the Black actors and actresses got cast for roles in that. And so we collaborated. It would be so much fun. In the summer, we would always do one play festival, the one act play festival. And that would be, we would rehearse all night. I mean, we were there one time till 4 a.m. rehearsing, doing technical.
You put the work in.
Oh yeah, we did. And so, but anyway, that's how we met. That's how we collaborated. So I knew who we wanted for these roles. I knew exactly. I'm not a big fan of auditioning, especially when you know so many people.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it is. Isn't that a daunting process?
Yeah. Cattle calls. Bob said it great.
I can't stand them. But see, I knew Yarborough and Peoples was my first and only choice. Shucky Ducky was my first and only choice. Neely was my first and only choice.
And she wrote according to their personalities. According to everybody's personalities.
Can I say this? Right. Can I say this to your point? And I think now I see why you guys are making such a great team, because you know whether you're auditioning in LA or New York, and I've been in those cattle calls, right? That when Bob, you said it best, co-opetition, because you know there's only one or two roles, right? So you're kind of competing, but then you also root and cheer on that person that gets it, right? And so what you are just expressed, Tammy, is this idea that you really kind of looked out for the people in your circle that you come to. That speaks a lot to your character, right? As far as, because you don't get that a lot. People tell you a lot of stuff across all industries. They're like, yeah, I'll give you a call later, right?
Yeah, right.
And aside, Bob was like, hey, Gene, now listen, I'm going to do yada, 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 but I don't want this to be any BS. And I'm like, I'm blowing his phone up going, but I sent you that at 4:05 p.m. Like, I'm not playing games here. And so it's because you sort of, and it's nice to see you guys laugh and talk and express yourself without that cynicism, if you will. So that really speaks a lot to your character, to the people that you chose, and why you guys are collaborative in the way that you are and have been. It's really nice to be able to see that. I just wanted to say that I feel you.
In all seriousness, after the majority of people see this movie, this is going to launch some careers. I mean, they're like Dallas's best kept secrets.
Yes.
I mean, they're phenomenal actors. They've been. Everybody has been putting in the work, right?
Yes.
They've all been putting in the work for years, decades. So, I mean, their performances on screen are just, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And it was my sheer joy to be in the room when they were performing. Like I said, and I mean, when we were filming, I knew it was going to be special then. And then when we were editing, I knew it was going to be even more special. And then when we showed the movie, I was so proud to be able to show them what we had been looking at every single day for a year.
Wow.
And they responded well because they recognized it too. They know that we have made something special. Yeah. We have created something special. When it comes to indie movies, I'm a big believer in, yes, we want originality and we want creativity. But me personally, I need
a great story.
Yes, I need a great story.
Right.
And it has that. And sometimes with indie films, it can be too complicated, or it can get a little too dramatic. Yeah. It can get too indie, it can get too serious. And I was like, well, one thing we're gonna have, because I need this when I go to a movie, I'm going to escape. Life is serious.
Absolutely.
Yep, I need to laugh, I need to smile, I need to have a good time.
Right.
So that's the humor that's in there. I mean, we're so proud of that. It's incredible.
But it sounds like it's real life humor.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like because sometimes life is just funny when it's not supposed to be.
Yes.
Right. And I, you know what I mean? Like you're just, like you're standing outside walking on the street and you get splashed with water and you're in a suit and you're going for an interview and you're like, well, then you just have to laugh. You're like, that's not supposed to be funny. Yeah.
Funny.
I get a sense. Go ahead, Bob.
No. Funny you should say that, because again, that's part of the humor that's in the movie.
Right. That's why I get a sense from that. That's what that looks like. Right. Yeah. So how long did you guys shoot film from concept to, and I'm glad you took a drink. How long did you guys shoot and film from, 2016, right, Tammy? You wrote
it. But again, our actual production schedule, we filmed for 8 days.
8 days.
Total.
Seriously?
The whole movie, and we were working 17, 18 hours. Days just ran together. We didn't know Monday from Thursday.
Yeah. I came back from Dallas a changed man. This was
wow.
Yeah, man. This was
wow.
Yeah,
and you guys shot. Wow, you guys shot in Dallas and Atlanta?
Yes. So we shot in Dallas 8 days. We took Sunday off to give everybody a break and to do laundry and to just rest. Right, because it's also Sunday, it's Lord's Day, and then we filmed in Atlanta on a Saturday morning in October of last year, and that one extra day was the 8th day total of filming.
Wow,
and it was insane. But I'm telling you, that schedule was insane. insane. And again, with a cast of, with a crew of 5, and then with a crew of 4 in Atlanta.
And we had a phenomenal producer, Kelly Gray Bobino. She was our producer. She was the script manager. She was our unit production manager. And she did that schedule, and she just,
she said, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah,
this
that's exactly what she said.
But she's trying to help us out in the budget.
Budget,
Again, it's self-financed.
Yeah, because that's what she does. Filmmaker, she's a producer, and so she just worked it out.
Yeah, but again, we had an extremely aggressive schedule. We do not recommend that for other people.
No.
Right. I was going to say, and the importance of keeping the schedule sort of tight, because I sort of heard you say you're self-funding, is to keep costs contained.
Absolutely.
Right, for the most part. Okay. And so you guys were able to shoot this movie that the run length on it is how long is the movie?
97 minutes.
97 minutes. You guys were able to shoot a 97-minute movie at the quality from what I'm seeing on the trailer. And folks, you will see the trailer when we go into post editing. I'm gonna plug it in here because I wanna plug you guys because I know it made me feel some kind of way, right? Not only that, come on, you're talking about I gotta say, you're talking about 3 beautiful women hula hooping who are. You can feel that sort of self-confidence. You can feel the real. It's just like talking to my mother and her friends, right? That's why I brought up playing Pinochle. I remember they talk about men and talk about relationships. And, I'm a little boy at the knee, sort of listening to this thing, trying to, I don't want to be like him because I heard that, Auntie was like, so it's really nice to see, for me to see as a man, to look at just what I saw the little snippet. I was like, oh, I know them, right? Like you know what I mean? I know them, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it's really nice to be able to get that feeling from just a short snippet. But my point being is how I think you really do have something special, how you're able to not only cross genders, but then also cross generations, right? And then you're able to cross external and internal cultures, because some people, may not have the Hot Wheel experience, although I don't know anybody that actually wouldn't, right? Or they wouldn't have the hula hoop experience, although I don't know anybody that would. And then I remember going to the skating rink on Friday night, and they had those competitions. And so it evokes a lot of my childhood memories, those sights and sounds and smells. 1978. What a year? Let's 78. You want to do the math? So I was a freshman in
then you're really going to feel this movie. You're totally going to feel this movie.
Yeah, right.
I was, grandma dropped you off at the skating rink type of thing, or the person that was skating with the hula hoop on, if you guys remember that time frame. So, but from the business standpoint of it, right?
Okay.
How were you guys able to take this concept? Because it's not easy, right? It's not easy to have proof of concept, put it on film, right? And then direct it and then shop it to someone like the Angelika and other distributors. What was that about? Not to give away your secrets, but how did y'all make it happen? That's what the question. Like, how did you make it happen? Like, how did you go, Angelika, here's our film. I know Bob, you're an imposing stature, right?
No. Well, here we go. It's very simple. You remember this simple formula, Gene,
right?
S equals M times D.
S equals
M times D. Success equals motivation times discipline.
Gotcha. Okay.
Greater the motivation.
Gotcha.
Right. When the motivation is high, it's easier to make it happen. But you got to have that discipline to carry things through. You got to have the discipline, right, to finish what you start.
To start it. That's
and the greater the motivation, the greater the discipline, the greater your success will be.
That's correct. And so, what are some challenges I got to ask?
What are some challenges? My ADD? Or what are we talking about? Obviously, look. So when we have great motivation and when we have phenomenal discipline, you're going to have incredible success.
I think that we're thinking spiritually. I think that now that you've got Tammy by your side, I think maybe God does have a favorite because you have her. And so I'm like, well, I want a sister like that. If we're all family, I'm like, so why is he the favorite son? How does he get? But that really does speak to your ability, both of you guys' ability to recognize talent. And then, because a lot of times, because you guys are in a partnership, right? And so a lot of times with partners, there's always ego coming to play. I don't get that sense from you two. I don't get that there's that sense of ego. I get that there's a sense of we got to get this done. Here's what you bring to the table. That's what is that pretty accurate based on what I'm picking up?
Absolutely. Bob and I.
Because Bob can be a lie.
And you know what? And yes, he can be. However, Bob gets things done. Mm-hmm. And anytime I've asked him for anything, anytime I've asked him to do anything, he's on it. And he goes above and beyond. Mm-hmm. And so
checking the ego, even checking the ego.
Right.
I get it.
But the thing of it is, he has a vision. I have a vision. Mm-hmm. While we're perfect for each other, we're not perfect people, and we don't always agree. Mm-hmm. But what we do know is, first of all, we're communicating. We're talking about it. Sometimes we're not always happy about it, but we have to come to a happy medium to make it work. Yes. Because it's not just his project, it's not just my project, it is ours. It's Edawimasi's. So we do have to come to a happy medium with that. And sometimes it takes more than a day. It takes more than 48 hours, to come to an agreement with things. But we finally have to compromise and we have to get it done. And we also have to check our ego, because he doesn't just have I do too. We all do.
And
so
absolutely.
We just have to check that at the door and say, okay, what is best for the film?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we respect each other's experiences. We respect each other's expertise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's trust and respect, which is the foundation for every successful relationship. You've got to have trust and you've got to have mutual respect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so phenomenal. That's really, really phenomenal. So I have so much that I want to go into it.
We're going to have to bring this up into a part two. You've actually got to work.
Let's do a part two. Yes, you guys got to go to work. So let the audience know where they can find you. Is this movie in Angelika? What time is it playing? So now we come to the part. I'm not going to edit this part out. Plug. I'm going to sit back and just be quiet.
Certainly. Right now, our next premiere is in Atlanta at the Plaza Theater. And that's right now, it's looking to be December 7th. You'll be able to get tickets to it.
That's what we're shooting for. That's what we're shooting.
You'll be able to get tickets to it on Eventbrite. So eventbrite.com, you'll be able to have the tickets for it. And then after that, depending on how the conversations go with the Angelika Theatre and also with the other theatrical chains, because again, I'm going after the theatrical chains now.
Absolutely.
I believe in
the theatrical chains are coming after us, by the way.
Yes, actually, distributors are noticing the buzz, and they're coming after us.
Yeah.
And
so we're in talks and negotiation with them, with Angelika Theatre, and so we're just we're continuing making it happen.
Other people saw there's a post. There's actually a documentary about the red carpet premiere that somebody posted up on YouTube.
Yeah.
A half-hour special.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Oh, really?
Yes. You can actually see the before and after.
Okay.
You can hear my preamble to the movie, like my introduction to the movie, and then you can actually hear the post session, the Q&A session with the actors, and actually some very poignant moments in that I absolutely recommend.
That's so phenomenal. That is so cool. I thank you guys for your time. I really, really, really am so excited that you guys were able to. I know we have some scheduling things going on there, but obviously you guys are premiering a movie entitled "The Rings That Bind Us." And I'm so blessed to have you guys on the program today. Thank you guys for helping me kick off my inaugural video portion of the program. As our relationships continue, I would like to turn this over to somebody else to do it, because I see how hard it is, which, by the way, really speaks to both of your level of professionalism and expertise. Because if I'm struggling with this, a video and a podcast, I can't imagine shooting 8 days for a movie that is
feature film.
Feature film.
Should have required 30 people, 3 months.
Incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yes.
Is there a website or a link or a social media platform?
We're working on it. We're working on the website right now. It's it's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's that sort of thing. So no worries.
What can I do
for you by the time this goes to edit? So we'll have that for you, but we'll also be happy to do a part 2 of this some other time too.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gene.
Bye, Gene.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.